Alright, and welcome back to Let's Play Dwarf Fortress. This is part 4, I believe, now. It's just I'm pausing at things going. And it looks like our dwarves have just finished putting the turkeys here. So now that the turkeys are in the pens, we can go ahead and close the doors so they can't take them out. And what you do is you press L and O to make it so nothing can pass through the doors. And L controls if your dwarves can pass through them, and O controls if your pets can pass through them. And for the turkey pens, I usually just put both, because I remember before trying to make it so my dwarves couldn't pass through them, and they were still going through them to get the eggs. So maybe the pet thing that applies for that. You know, if you really want to test, you can play around and try to figure out yourself. I just turn both off, and that's what works for me. Okay, so now the eggs should be laid, and once the eggs are laid, they'll hatch, because no dwarves can come and take away those eggs. Let's see what else needs to be done in the world here. Okay, the dwarves are working away on completing that ceiling there. Looks like we have trade goods being still moved up here. Which is good. You know what? I think I just realized something. That the farming area isn't quite working properly. I mean the kitchen area. And I'll explain why. Because we have designated certain stockpiles to give to the Kern or to the farmer's workshop, that means that the farmer's workshop and the Kern will only take from those particular stockpiles. Now, this is important because the stockpiles require, these workshops require more than just food items to do the processing. They require containers to put these food items in. And because we don't have piles containing containers giving to the workshops, they can't do their job. So let's make the appropriate container piles next to the workshops. So the containers are kept in the furniture stockpile. I believe there are other special containers that may also be kept in multiple stockpiles, but I'm not going to get into that at the moment. You can find them all in the furniture stockpile if you need to anyways. So we'll put one stockpile down here for bags, which are needed for processing from the Kern and from the farmer's workshop. And the way you make a pile that can contain bags is a little different from other piles, because there are three different features that you have to take into consideration for them. Okay. And while in most stockpiles there's just one kind of item you enable, these things have, I guess you could call them attributes. And they are the type, the material that it's made out of, and the quality. So because we probably want all quality of bags to be stored here, we'll just leave all the qualities enabled. And because we only want bags enabled, we'll just make sure, so type is only listed as bags. So we'll forbid it first, and then go and just enable bags. And as you can see, when you go to bags, it says boxes and bags. So if you want this to only store bags, then you've got to make sure that you only enable materials that are made into bags to go there. So no bags are made of stone or clay, metal. However, they are made of other materials. So we'll just leave these materials all enabled, and the bags that can be made out of them will be stored. Obviously no bags can be made out of wood, but that's not really an issue, because since no bags can be made out of wood, you know, no wood items will clog up the stockpile, because only bags will go there. So, okay. And then we need to make this stockpile give to the Kern and to the farmer's workshop. And now both of these workshops take from piles or have piles giving to them that contain all the items they need for processing. And I'll also do the same thing quickly for our food production facilities. And I'm just going to make this kind of L-shaped pile here. That should be good enough, because I want to have it as close as possible. Okay. And barrels are done in a similar way as bags. So you forbid, just enable barrels, and then you pick the materials that you want them made of. I wonder if, sorry, I just want to check something else. It says barrels or pots listed here. Okay, so barrels count as pots too. So basically there are two words used in this game for the same thing, except that the difference is barrels are always produced of wood and pots can be produced of stone, of clay, of glass. So by enabling barrels here, the stockpile is for all those kind of items. And so we also want the ones that are made of stone and clay. I'm going to disable the metal ones for a moment because I like to save my metal to make other things. So we don't really need to put in a pile for it. And I guess I'll just leave other materials all enabled too, because we definitely want the ones made of glass to come in here as well. At first in the game, you'll probably be using a lot of wooden barrels, but it's a good idea to get away from using wood to produce barrels later on, because it's far easier to just set up, like, for instance, a glass facility if you have sand on the map to produce glass jugs. Okay. One thing to take to note is if you decide to do pottery, only glazed pottery can be used to hold beverages. So that's a bit of an exception. I don't really tend to do pottery, so it's not something I worry about much myself. I like to focus on glass more. Okay. And this will give to both our food and beverage production areas as well. I believe certain items that are processed in the farmer's workshop also need barrels. Okay, and we should be good for that. Okay, and it looks like our dwarves have finished carving out the rooms here that we'll use to place our butcher's workshop in. So let's put the butcher's workshop, and I'll just put it, pretty much as close as possible to this pathway that leads to the kitchen. And besides that, place a tanner's workshop. And sorry, I'm trying to figure out the button. And what a tanner's workshop does is after an animal is butchered, you get a multitude of different things from it. You'll get rawhide, meat, hair, wool, hooves, horns, bones, skulls, just a multitude of different things. And what the tanner's workshop does is it takes those raw hides and transforms them into leather. And it's a good idea to have a tanner's workshop built before you start slaughtering animals, because the raw hide will rot. So you generally want to have an animal slaughtered and then the raw hide processed right away. Okay, and let's build a leather works as well. We'll just place it down here, I guess. Oh wait, I'm kind of changing my mind with these things. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit indecisive, but I feel like I'd want my cloth production facility as close to the farmer's workshop for efficiency purposes. So I'll dig out a second room here for the butcher. Why isn't that moving? Okay. Wow, my keyboard is being glitchy today. You know, this is what you gotta live with when you got a wireless keyboard, I guess. Kind of pointless for a desktop, but okay. We'll remove these buildings and place them up in here once the digging's done. And digging should go fairly quick. As you can see, both our miners have already headed over here. And you know what that reminds me? I got another request for a name, and the name is Diggy McChopchop. So I'll pause the game here and make one of these miners have that name, and I'll be right back once I'm done doing this. Okay, and I'm back. Unfortunately, there was a slight issue in the naming, and it seems that Diggy McChopchop has one letter too long of a name. So what I've done is I've removed one of the G's in Diggy. Additionally, I guess I could have removed one of the chop, but I felt the chop was really an essential part of the name. So yeah, but you know, if you'd prefer that I alter the name some other way, let me know, and I can definitely make the change. All right, dwarves, get to digging. So, one thing to keep a note with butcher shops is they produce miasma, which is kind of a nasty gas that your dwarves really don't like. It makes them very unhappy and can even make them have tantrums and start attacking other dwarves. So the best way to get around this problem with butcher shop is to hollow out the area above the shop, and then the gas will actually float up into that area and away from your dwarves. So we will do that once we have this butcher shop placed. So place the butcher shop, I guess. Right here is a good spot. We've got chalk, so tanner beside the butcher shop, and let's place the leather works. You know what? I'm gonna place it down here. It's a little farther, but that's okay. I'll just have a leather stockpile down here. Make that out of chalk. And while we're at it, with the leather, we might as well put down what we'll need to produce cloth, which will be a loom, which is well positioned close to the farmer's workshop, because that's where you tend to get most of the resources that you need to make cloth. And then once we have cloth, we can make that cloth into clothing with a clover's workshop, which I'll place down right beside. Okay, as you can see, everything here is constructed to make walking absolutely minimal for the dwarves. The farms are not far away from this kitchen area, and then the food gets stored right beside where it's needed, then it'll get moved. The threads will get moved directly to where it will be spun into cloth, and the cloth is right by where it will be processed into clothing. So the dwarves will actually have very little walking back and forth with resources, and it will save them a lot of time. Okay, so we'll need a workshop to store the products from, the raw resources that these two workshops will need. So we'll make one here for thread, and we'll make a second one here for cloth. And just go down and disable all cloth here so it doesn't go into the wrong pile. And then this one will disable the thread. And that should be all we need to do for that part. Let's see what's getting built. Most likely, I'll missing a dwarf that has that have appropriate tasks to work at a clover's workshop or at a loom or a butcher. I'll be back here in a second. Let's explore the rest of the fortress and see what's going on. Have I linked up these levers? I don't believe I have. So I will do that now. Actually, the best way to check that if you've linked a lever to an item that you want to link it to is to try to link it to that item again, because it will not let you. So it's really something you don't have to worry about. It's foolproof. So we'll link this one up to this top floodgate, and you need 2 mechanisms for that. Okay, and we'll link this one up to the bottom floodgate. And to scroll through, all right, I'll go over quickly how to link the items. So you go over the chalk, a lever with the Q menu, you press A to add a task, F for floodgate, and then that will take you to this menu here where you pick which floodgate you want to link up. You can't use the arrow keys to move the cursor to a different floodgate. If you do that, it actually takes you right out of the menu and you've got to start all over again. The way you switch the floodgate that you want to link up is by pressing plus and minus to scroll through them in this menu. So we'll pick the bottom one here, chalk mechanisms, and it looks like now these corner walls are done, so we can remove the floors and then build walls in their place to seal up this area. Okay. And it looks like dwarves came down here pretty quick to do this, so I'll just wait for them to finish so I don't have to come down here later, you know, I might forget or something. Fish cleaner cancels fish, interrupted by Otterman. Okay, that's not a big deal. These animal, half people creatures, even though they'll interrupt your dwarves often, they don't tend to actually attack them or hurt your dwarves. I think they just kind of like scare them away, or if they're just mischievous. So you can safely ignore that message. But if it was, for instance, a wolverine, that would be a big problem because wolverines are deadly. Okay, we got those two walls in place. Floodgates are told to link. And I just recalled we haven't linked our drawbridge either, so we'll do that too. It's the same process of floodgate, except instead of pressing F, you press B for bridge. Takes 2 mechanisms as well. Oh, excellent. Looks like we got some migrants, which is just what we need at the moment. So I'll let them wander into the fortress. Looks like it may have only been 2. That's not... It's a pretty small wave of migrants. But that's okay, I guess. Or maybe more, because now we all of a sudden have 6 idlers. Let's check Dwarf Fortress and see what we got. Okay, so we're organizing by migration wave. Okay, so we did only get 2 more. And any useful skills? We got another stonecrafter. And it's actually a better stonecrafter than Bushy. But since Bushy is pretty good already, I think I'll just leave them both as stonecrafters. And yeah, that should be fine. Plant processing, we have that. Wow, no new skills whatsoever. Maybe there's some military skills? No. Pretty poor migration wave. So I think I'll take these guys, or especially Iral here, and give Iral all the tasks that we have workshops for that we don't have a dwarf to support them, such as weaving, which is needed for the loom, clothes making. We don't need any of these. Lever working, I will give to Onget. I'll divide up the tasks between 2 dwarves. Beekeeping, pressing, we don't need. Spinning, yeah, spinning I will give to Iral. And Iral will be, I guess, kind of a cloth-making dwarf. And good fisher, too. And shearing, because we have the packas, we can get wool from them. I'll need to set up a workshop to do that, which I'll do in a second. And we'll give milling to Onget. And what else? Lye making, no. Potash, wood burning, soap making, dyeing, tanning and butchery. And I'll remove, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to remove any of the skills from Onget. It's a pretty large skill set that Onget has currently, but until I get someone more specialized in any of these skills, I'll just leave Onget with them. because I could probably use a second brewer and a second plant processor as well. Cool. Let's get back to the game. And now that we have dwarves that are skilled in all these tasks, they should come and start building these workshops. Let's see what dwarves are idle. Okay, our miners are idle. So we'll give the miners some tasks. Okay. Well, let's dig out an area on top of the butcher's shop to let the miasma escape. Yeah, I think that looks kind of like a nice passageway. And it overlaps with all the open passageways here, so if I decide to use this pattern again, I won't have to, build some walls to block anything I'd be interfering with. Cool. That should work well. And we'll also tell the dwarves to dig out an area for some workshops for our carpenters and masons, a permanent area. We have a bunch of temporary areas set up, but somewhere deep underground where they can work in peace. And I'll just do this in a similar pattern as the kitchen area, because it seems like these little square kind of hub-like rooms work fairly well. And they kind of look cool too. Like it has this kind of interesting square mechanical aesthetic that I think dwarves may actually like. And I'll do 2 levels of this. And can't forget the nice pattern around the stairwell. Later on, we'll get a dwarf with legendary engraving skill to engrave these columns with awesome patterns that will make every dwarf that walks by look at them in awe and really happy. Maybe I should have paused the video to do this, but it seems like it's going pretty quick. It's not that complicated with pattern anyways, so. Okay, stairwell thing, right. Stairwell thing. Cool. God, I'm going to pause for a second. It is brutally hot here, and my air conditioner's busted, and I need to turn on a fan. So I will be right back once I have that done. All right, I'm back, and let's let this digging get going. There's a few other things we got to get to. Okay. Let's check out if the walls are done down here, and they are. So then we have that floodgate linked up, so we're pretty close to getting this water flow going. But there's something I want to scout out. I really want to know if this pool of water here can drain out of the side of a map here, because if it can't, then that means any water that we dump in here will slowly begin to fill up and flood the caverns, and that is something I don't want to happen. I want to have the caverns useful, whatever we need to do. So I'll build a downward stairwell somewhere around here, so I can access the caverns on the dry land and scope them out. Because otherwise, yeah, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. Okay, so we'll just build it here. So let's make upward stairwell. This will be, I guess, a temporary passage. Let's put it here. Yeah, here's good. And then we need up, down, which is I. Or maybe this isn't the best place to build it. Yeah, I just decided this wasn't the best place to build it. And that's because it's going to be exposed on every single Z level to the side here. So it's best if we build the stairwell in an enclosed area, like here, or something we know is probably fully enclosed, like somewhere here, and then build out to it on one level so we can block it off much easier. Okay, so now let's just go all the way up so we're to a level we have connection to. I did a multi-level designation there, so that's why I didn't have to do it on every level. And then connect that to our main stairwell. Okay. I believe there's some other mining that we need to do to get this waterfall thing going here. We need to clear out the stone here so water can actually flow in. So to do that, we need to mine above it and then channel out very in front of it here. I'll have to channel out both of these squares, but I'm first designated this one for channeling because if they channel this square, they won't be able to get here. Right, and we also need to channel above the butcher's workshop. Which hasn't been built yet. But since we have a dwarf of that skill, it should get to it at some point. Doesn't look like any bags are being stored here. There's one barrel stored here. That might be because the bags are already stored in the stockpile up here. So let's tell this stockpile to not store furniture anymore. We will need to make a furniture stockpile for all the other kind of furniture that we don't have a stockpile for anymore. You know what? Actually, I feel like I'm just going to delete the stockpile entirely. I feel like it served its usefulness. And right, so to do that, you go to Pile, and then X, and you have to remove it just by dragging the box over and removing it. You can't do the kind of thing where you press Shift X and just tell it to remove the whole thing like you can for a zone, unfortunately. Let's, we are actually, I was going to make a few more barrels, but it seems like we have quite a few barrels already. Oh, Stray Cat has given birth to kittens. Too bad we don't have a butcher's workshop. We could slaughter some of those kittens. Okay, we have a lot of bags now, which is great. So we can tell this guy to process plants. And this one to process plants too. See how we are. Okay, we're doing pretty well for food and booze. Yeah, food and booze is going well. Doesn't look like there's a lot here, but it says that we have quite a bit. So I'm just going to trust that menu. Though I guess I could just always tell him to brew some more drink. And you know what? Prepare as many easy meals as you can. Okay, Butcher's Workshop is done. Time to butcher us some animals. So to do that, you go into the Z menu, head to Animals, and then you press B to designate which ones you want to slaughter. And we'll slaughter the yak cow and one hump camel. Not particularly useful animals. The kind of large herbivores in this game require just way too too much grazing land to make them truly useful. And we'll also slaughter some of these kittens. I can handle a couple cats, but this is really excessive. I'll just slaughter this one for now. 4 cats is a bit much, but I think I can deal with them. Cool. And we'll have some cat meat. Okay, and it looks like they're finally properly processing the plants. Now we have food piles giving to them. Plant piles given to them, and piles with bags or sacks given to them as well. I just noticed we don't have a stockpile for leather. That's really easy to do because there's a special designation just for leather. I'm not sure why leather has its own special designation, and all other animal products are in the food menu, but whatever, that's fine. Or I guess the refuse menu. Let's take a look at everything. Yeah, it seems like things are coming along nicely. This floor is getting built, though fairly slowly. I don't really have any 3 dwarves to make more masons with, so we're just going to have to wait for it to be done before we can put up the walls and build our archery barracks up here. And a dog is giving birth to some puppies. Great. I won't slaughter those puppies. Dogs are actually somewhat useful. Okay, what else do we need to do? Oh, I just realized. We should cover up this hole with a grate so that the water doesn't end up sweeping any of our dwarves down it and flushing them out into the caverns. So we will build a grate so we can cover it up. And you do that in a mason's workshop. Also, you can make metal grates as well, but we'll just build one here. You might even be able to make wood ones, but that just seems weird to me. Let's make 2 grates and then a bunch more tables for our dining room up here. And I'm also going to tell them to smooth the stone around where the waterfall is, because if any of the water gets onto these squares, it could potentially turn to mud, which is really difficult to clean up. However, if the stone is smoothed before and it becomes muddied, then your dwarves will clean it up fairly quickly. So let's smooth all that down. And I just noticed I didn't space these side tables the same as I spaced these ones. So let's move them to get a nice symmetrical square going here. We're going to have to redesignate the dining room because we're removing the table that's designated from. So I'll just do that and use this table up here. I'm going to spill over fairly heavily into the food storage area, but that's not an issue. And let's have them finish mining out here where we'll do our water access zone. Usually I try to get this done a lot sooner, but I'm not too afraid of things freezing over at the moment. So I'm kind of taking my time with this area. Also need to channel down to have somewhere for water to go. This will be like a big kind of bath or pool for the dwarves. And I'll channel down. Oh, so this little corner here didn't get mined out, I guess. It's no problem, just do it now. So channel down. Was there another corner? How did I move it? Miss these tiny things. Okay. Channel down 2 spots here where we can put wells in. so our dwarves will have easy access to water. Dwarves particularly like wells. Let's make this, yeah, that will look a little better if we thicken out that low end piece. And we can do the same thing here. Okay. Why aren't you brewing? You have prickleberries, hide root, whipvine. Maybe it was just done the task. This is giving to... Oh, it's not giving to the still. Oh, what a silly mistake. I thought I already did all this. Okay, so we haven't been producing food or booze. Oh boy, micromanagement is fun. Okay, now produce the food and booze. There's lots of booze. I should just repeat till you're done. And yeah, okay, you're already doing that, cool. Is the linking finished? Okay, great, they're done connecting the levers to the gates. So we can begin to close off this area here. You can see dwarves are walking up and down this stairwell, and we don't want them getting trapped in this channel here. So we can remove this downward stairwell by channeling it out. Like so, and then they'll stop using it. And we can remove this upward stairwell here by going D for designation and Z to remove upstairs / ramp. And once we do that, there'll just be a downward stairwell left in its place, but we can then channel to remove. Okay, so the stray yak cow has been slaughtered. So it's just a downward stairwell now, and let's just move it fully using J. Oops. D. H. Sorry, H for channel, not J. Okay, and it's a good idea to make sure that there isn't a dwarf in here at the moment, too. One may have ran down to pick up some stone, or potentially, so I'm just going to go through this whole thing and make sure dwarf isn't on one of these squares, because we don't want to get the dwarf stuck in here. Okay, no dwarf in there. Cool, and if our grate is done, we can now put the grate over this hole, and water will be able to flow down in, but dwarves won't. So it's built for B, and then G for floor grate, and the grate's not done construction. So we're going to have to wait a little while for that. Okay, it looks like our dwarves are very busy, so I'll just let this kind of run its own course now. Close off this area here. And we can make sure that a dwarf won't get stuck on this side of the wall after it's done building this wall by placing a wall here to be built and then suspending the construction. See if they've done any progress on this downward channel. Oh, and they have. Okay, so what's down here? Oh, and it does. It is open on the other side now, so that's not what I wanted, but I guess you can't win them all. Okay, and unfortunately it looks like this cavern here is actually fully enclosed, and it won't drain off to the side unless it happens up here. If But I can see that down here, this is connected to the side of a map. So any water we pour in here will drain off the side of the map. So I'm tempted to divert the flow out this way. How difficult will that be? Is the question. Yeah, it is kind of far away. Alternatively, we could try to get it to flow here, and I guess it would. Well, no, it'd still kind of pour down here. I'm a little stumped exactly what I should do at this point. Maybe I should scout out here to see if this is connected. So I could tell the water flow out down here and then just wall off this area. So it does flow off the side of the map. That'll be a pretty easy thing to do. Because I just don't want to flood this whole thing. I know I've said that before, but let's not cause ourselves more trouble than we need. Though, if this water does connect to the side, then I'm causing myself more trouble by doing all that extra mining construction. So let's send a dwarf to explore. We'll tell our miners. Do this with our miners, and we'll tell them to mine the whole side up here. Let's see what they find. They can get there, right? Uh-oh. What it is? Serpent men. Am I about to let them all into my fortress here accidentally? Because there are a lot of them, and I don't think they're friendly. Okay, we have this walkway down here. Opens up down there. And the serpent men were right there. So they can walk down there. Can they walk through the water? Doesn't look like they can. At least they're not heading towards us at the moment. So I think I'm safe. We'll just see how this plays out. Keep a close eye on those serpent men. Oh, Bushy has created a masterpiece. Alright, my dwarf is over here, and they're mining that area. Serpent men aren't coming towards me. So I'll just take a bit of a chance and let this play out for a moment. And then I'll go and reseal this passageway. Come on, hurry up. Mine this miner out. Yeah, those serpentmen can't go in the water. You'd think serpentmen would be able to swim across a tiny little gap like that and get to me, but I don't think they can. So we'll just leave them there for now, and once we get a military, maybe we'll go and take them out or something. I have a feeling this water isn't going to connect to the side of a map. Oh. Yeah, but the water doesn't connect. But there is a whole gap on the side of the map. Okay. I am gonna have to engineer something here. Okay, well, we don't need to dig any more of this out, because now we know what we have here, what we're dealing with. So go back to safety. And, okay, I'll just do it like this. Whatever is the closest edge of the map to our walkway, where there's a hole, is where I'll let the water go spill out. And I believe that is right here. So that shouldn't be too difficult. Or right down, where was it? Oh, up here. Okay. Yeah, and then I'll just wall this off to make sure the water doesn't flood down here or here. Cool. Got a plan. Should channel that out. So then the dwarf will be able to walk down here and then up there. Well, I guess that makes the whole floodgate thing here kind of pointless. Well, at least we have another floodgate that we can put in this area here. Okay, zoom back in and see where the miners are. Okay, there's one there. He's going back up, and the other miner is up here doing that work. So I should be safe to block off this kind of temporary channel with a wall. And let's place the wall right down here by the stairwell. Yeah, I don't want him getting stuck on the wrong side, so I'll double wall it and suspend that one. Okay. And like I said, we'll wall this part off as well. Once that's dug out. Because digging this out will create stone that we can use to wall it, and they won't have to haul that stone so far. Oh, there's a sea here, which means something's been fighting. Let's check that out. The louse woman, the hedgehog, the sponge. Probably, yeah, they're just falling off the waterfall. Nothing to concern ourselves with. Oh, the merchants have arrived. Are unloading their goods. That's excellent. So, to trade, you need to do three things. You need merchants in your trade depot, which I have. You gotta press R to tell your trader to go there, and you gotta move goods there. So let's move the goods. Right now, the only goods I think I want to trade are all these crafts that we've been making, that Bushy has been producing for us. So we'll keep everything else. Okay, and dwarves will begin to move the crafts there. And hopefully Bushy will go over soon, though Bushy is conducting a meeting. Bushy's our broker. So we'll have to wait for Bushy to finish that meeting. To ensure that Bushy goes right there after meeting's finished, I'm going to remove all other tasks from the dwarf. There's nothing worse than having your broker just not go to the trade caravan when the broker is needed. And it's happened to me before. Sometimes it's just like impossible to get that broker to head over. And now Bushy's having a drink. And still drinking. Hopefully that's bushy. I just headed over. And it is. Okay, so to trade, now we can just go here and press T to trade, and we'll pick which items we want to trade. So let's go through these barrels and check if there's anything, in the bins, and check if there's anything in them we don't want to trade. We don't want to trade the rope or the quivers. So I'm going to have to select all of items within the bin individually for trading. This is the only time I'll go through the trading in the video, because it can get kind of tedious, but I just wanted to give a demonstration of how to do it. All these rings and bracelets we don't need. Okay, and what about this barrel? And this bin I'm in? And okay, it has nothing in it we don't want to trade, so we'll just tell them to trade the whole bin, and that will speed things up quite a bit because they won't have to individually remove all these tiny items from the bin. And what about this last one here? Oh, it's not the last one. There's still one more. Cool, yeah. Do that whole one. And then what about this? Yeah, this whole bin too. And no, yeah, that one we don't want to trade everything. Because we want to keep those ropes and quivers. Cool. And now we can pick which items we want. And since my broker has appraiser skill, it's telling us the value of these items. And here's the cumulative value of the current trade. And because we're only select items of ours we want to trade, it says a trader will have a profit of 6,450. And so we want to get somewhere close to that number with items that we want. We want to try to lower that number by picking items that we want to trade now. Ideally, you'd want to trade that would be in your favor. However, because our broker isn't very experienced, we're probably going to have to give a sizable profit to these dwarven traders to get them to accept it. And if you don't, and you keep on trying to trade, and they don't like it, they'll eventually refuse to even talk to you anymore. So don't want to piss them off too bad. Okay, what do we want here? Let's take this rope. The cheap items we'll take. Water skin, sure, why not? As long as it's inexpensive. Bismuth, bronze. What? Oh, okay, that's going to be a harp because these are all instruments here, so we don't want any of that. But we will take these cages because we can use them for traps. This one has a boar in it, which is nice. This lead cage is a little pricey, so I'll leave. And yeah, let's take the barrels. Oh, especially the barrels that have booze in them. Yeah, we want all of those. A pick. Cool, yeah. With a pick, we can make another miner. Steel sword. And what's this? Bismuth bronze. Short sword. Sure, why not? And okay, we can take an iron crossbow. Take that copper pick. No, we don't need to trade socks. Socks don't really do a whole lot. Sugar bag. Pigtail fiber bag. Yeah, let's take that. Actually, take a whole bunch of bags. You can never have enough bags. Plump helmet spawn. Okay, we can kickstart farming there. Rock nut bag. Great. It's always good to have lots of seeds. You know, we really need an anvil, so I may just go find that right now. Yeah, let's go. Hopefully they have an anvil here. If they didn't bring an anvil, that's really going to suck for us. It'll take the leather. bins as well. Oh boy. Okay, they have anvils, but they're steel anvils, which are fairly pricey. But we'll take one. You know what? Let's take 2 of them. Why not? And I think we can probably pull off a couple more items before they don't like the profit margin. Sure, some thread. You know what? Let's take the donkey cheese. Yeah. Oh, pig cheese. Sounds delicious. Donkey cheese. We'll take the splints and the crutches. Okay, and any metal bars we want. Not really. They didn't really bring a lot of metal bars. No, just forget about that then. Let's take the rope. I'll take this down to 2,500 and then try the trade. Will that do it? Okay, let's see if they'll accept this. They might not like it. Oh, okay, cool. And we are done trading. And we have our anvil, which is exactly what we needed there. Let's head down to the caverns and make sure nothing bad is going on down here. Okay, that wall is finished, so we can remove the temporary wall here. And what about our new channel here? No, not done yet. Let's take a quick peek at those serpent people. Oh, that's not a serpent person, but it's something else. What is that? Troglodyte. Okay, it's a kind of animal that you get in the caves. Probably safely ignore that for a moment. It's not coming up as hostile, so. See if they finished off this these work areas. Not quite, but they've done a bit. So we can start putting down some of the workshops. And I'll put a furniture one. Yeah, I know what I'll do here. Put a furniture stockpile actually, right in the center here. And then I'll have stockpiles here for wood and stone, and then production facilities for wood and stone. They'll just funnel right into this furniture stockpile. So U for furniture. Okay, and now we will do carpenters on this side. And a wood stockpile underneath in this square. And then we can go to the top here and remove this wood stockpile and the carpenter's workshop up here. So that will all be underground now. And remove the carpenter's workshop. Almost done with the flooring, just not quite. See how we are for food and drink, and we have tons of food and drink now. We did trade for quite a bit of booze, so. As you can see, our items aren't being stored in the bins anymore because all the bins are now in the trade depot. But because we're done trading, maybe we can remove some of those bins. Yeah, we have 3 bins, empty bins in here, so. We just press enter on the add remove goods. They'll be taken out. And I think we're going to need to make some more bins. that's not done yet, so we can't quite build them there yet. I like the place underneath the wood pile.
Winter is here.
The wood burner. So that wood pile is both close to the carpenter and the wood burner. And to build, like, I guess the wood burner's workshop, it's not actually under the workshop menu, it's under the furnace menu. So you go to build, and then I think it's Shift E, or, okay, it's E, and then wood furnace. We'll just place it down right here. Cool. And we'll use the wood furnace to produce coal. And coal is stored under bars and blocks. So we'll put that down here. And make sure it only actually stores coal. So just disable everything but other materials and coal. Should be good. To get the metal going, we'll need a smelter and a blacksmith, which we can now build because we have an anvil, but unfortunately we don't have any metal yet, so yeah. I don't know, I'll have to just wait a little while still till we stumble upon some. Oh. Oh my god. So I think I might just be the luckiest person in the world right now. I almost got scared shitless when I saw this. That this area had all of a sudden flooded with water, because I didn't make any channels to bring water into this here this here bathing area. However, I think that there's an aquifer in the stone here, and it just happened to lie on the right space beside this square so that the water flooded in, and it's on the exact right level that it won't flood out of here. So I don't even need to worry about supplying water to this pool. It is just going to be done automatically for me. That is fantastic. It's like a nice underwater spring for them. And it's good fresh water too. Wow, talk about luck, huh? I'm gonna remove the designations and channel out. Make sure they channel out from the side like this, so there isn't any kind of little floating on stuck in there. If this water starts flowing out of here, we're just really screwed, but I don't see that happening. Because the aquifer is on the level below. Wow, I've never had anything quite so lucky happen in this game. Usually I have bad luck, and this complete disaster happens. Lots of fun. Oh, why haven't they smoothed that out? Oh, you know what? Maybe like a cat was standing on it when they were going to, and they just stopped trying. We got some announcement. What were they? Cancels brew drink, needs distillable item. That's cool. We have tons of booze now. Okay, yeah, nothing troublesome. Let's place those tables down. This time at the proper spacing. We only have 2, I guess. Any free chairs? A couple. Is there a chair under here? No. Cool. Okay, we also need to channel this one out to make the water available. It's quite a bit of work for this waterfall, I sure hope the dwarves appreciate the tiny bit of mist this is going to get them. Oh, do that again. I don't seem to be getting any thread from processing. I should be getting it though. That's the quarry bush pile. And I have pigtails, so why aren't you processing the pigtails, dwarves? They are given to Farmer's Workshop. And that's given to the Farmer's Workshop. Okay, yeah, they should process them. There may have not been bags available, or who knows. Okay, let's channel out the rest of this zone here. Okay, now if we pull the lever, the water will actually come in and flow right down, and we'll have our waterfall going. But I don't think we have the proper water flow set up quite done yet. They haven't dug this channel out, so I have to wait a few minutes for that to finish. Let's check out the workshop zone. It's a little more dug out, not quite finished though. Is this? Oh, the wood furnace is done being built, so someone must have wood burning skill. It's not going to do us any good at the moment because we don't have any metal. I think, yeah, right after, next time the dwarves are free, we're going to explore down in this overlapping biome for some metal. Okay, so we're in conversation here all of a sudden. And this is the diplomat from the outpost. And he says, I am your liaison from Mountain Homes. Let's discuss your situation. Okay, in discussion. Okay, and they're asking us what we want from their merchants. And we're going to want some leather. How this works is you scroll up and down, find items you want, and then you increase the priority. I know that seems pretty obvious, but increasing the priority also increases the price that you'll have to pay for an item. It's basically telling them the demand, you know, and supply and demand, higher price. So, but we will want leather. So bring us lots of leather next time you come. Human caravans tend to be great for leather. Dwarves, better for metal and stuff. Elves, pretty damn useless. Except sometimes they might bring some cool exotic animals. But all the kind of weapons and everything they bring is made of wood, which is somewhat ironic because if you try to trade wood with elves, they get really pissed off and they'll just refuse to trade with you anymore. And if you do it enough, you could even piss them off so much that they might even attack you. They use some bullshit about not respecting their customs or whatever. And it might sound like fun to get the elves to attack you, and I guess it could be a bit of fun, but unfortunately, since all that they wear is made of wood, they tend to have horrible loot too. Okay, to scroll through the item types on the right and left, you use the plus and minus keys. And I don't know, I think that's all we want from them. Well, let's ask them for weapons. There we go. Actually, no crossbows. We can produce our own crossbows. Crossbows don't need to be made out of metal. Material quality does not affect the crossbow's quality whatsoever. It only affects the damage the crossbow would do if your dwarf uses it in a meal to smack someone with it. Actual crossbow damage itself is dependent on the skill of the dwarf who made it. And yeah, it should be good. Come on, miners. Finish her off. Okay. Here's another trade screen. So they finalized their import agreement. And now here's what they'll offer us for all the items with the priorities. So that's good. Whatever. And now he's telling us what they'll be willing to offer us. And this menu should pop up very shortly. Or maybe not. Okay, well, while we're waiting, let's put the tables down. Looks like our dining hall is finally starting to come along. At least somewhat. But still a lot of work to do. Let's check on our tower at the top here. Okay, here's the caravan heading off. Okay, they finalized the export agreement. And now this tells us particular items they're willing to pay more for. And it seems that they really want crossbows, quivers, crutches. Crutches are good. We can make plenty of those. And plants. And they're willing to offer quite a bit for drink, handwear, and earrings. Cloth, thread. Earrings are really good because we'll actually already get a lot of those from our stonecrafter, who's probably still hard at work. Blah, 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 whatever. Go away. Okay, and I didn't realize how long this video has gone on for, so I'm going to cut it short here. Well, not cut it short, but cut it off here. And, yeah, hopefully get the next one up ASAP, because it looks like some interesting stuff is starting to happen now. All right, see you next time.